welcome to the Jeff Ahern Show. Good to see you. I hope you're having a great week. I'm in sunny California, which is anything but sunny right now. It's raining, and it's supposed to keep raining for I think the next 3 or 4 days. So after that, it'll be sunny again. So there you go. But let's get right into it. Let's talk about what's going on right now. Right now, Fox has actually got this live, which I haven't seen before. They Watch Live. I've got it on their front banner headline here. I'm going to call him Murtaugh. That's the dude from the A-Team. It should also make for an interesting trial, I think. Is it Murtaugh? I feel like now. I feel like Murtaugh was he the crazy one? I feel like he was the crazy one. There's B.A., Faceman, Hannibal. Yeah, I think Murtaugh was the nut. So yeah, actually, it's a good fit. So yeah, the guy, he's an insane clown. Like he's an insane clown. He's, in my opinion, completely guilty, without a shadow of a doubt. He either killed his wife and kids directly or indirectly, paid someone to do it. Then he tried to have himself offed, and it's the most convoluted, weird, crazy thing. I feel like at this point, like since he wasn't able to successfully kill himself, like he allegedly was his most of his family, it's like one more game for him. It's like one more chance, one more bite at the apple. Guy's a lawyer. Can I get off? I wonder if I can get off. I bet you I might be able to beat this. So it's just like, yeah, he was going to kill himself, I think. But now he's like, oh, well, it's like, before I die, maybe let me see if I can get away with this, It's madness. This guy is a lunatic. He kills his family, allegedly. And his son, the surviving son, well, why did that kid survive? How come the other, the rest of the family pretty much died, murdered? And he lived. Well, apparently this son of his, good for nothing son, is a chip off the old block. It's like there's stories of him choking his girlfriend. Apparently, he was drunk driving, and the family got mad at the girlfriend because she called 911 when they got in the accident instead of calling them so they could clean up the mess. He killed a friend in a boating accident also while he was drunk, avoided any real charges on that because of his family's connections. It really gives you a chance to see, at least in this community, but it's true everywhere, what goes on when you have power in these communities, when your families have power, in this case, Murdaugh's family for years and generations. It's embedded, and you can kind of do whatever the hell you want. And so it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. But yeah, he's a scumbag. Like that's being generous. That's being light on him. I mean, oh my God. So I hope he gets what's coming to him and more. AOC is in the news again. So now she's in Japan. Squad. This is in Fox News. Squad member roasted for demanding LGBTQ alphabet be embraced. So basically, she's in Japan chastising them. She's like, "Hey, you have to do this because I say you have to do this." And no one wants to listen to AOC. I mean, the Japanese, why is she even here? I'm sure the Japanese are looking at each other like, is there a reason she's in our country? Why shouldn't she be in New York somewhere, kicking out a massive business and pushing jobs out like she did with Amazon? Getting rid of a huge boon to her very own community by just shutting them out and scaring them off. Running them off. I mean, it's not an appealing thing. I wouldn't think to even open a business in New York. So to even get someone willing to open, and then at that big a scale, and then you're wrong, you're mean, you did whatever. Let them set up shop, and people can make up their own decisions. But anyway, so now she's in Japan for no reason in particular. Like, really, why is she in Japan? Why should she be? What possible reason other than to go over there and yell at them for not embracing LGBTQ? What? Couldn't you do that from an email? Couldn't you stay? Taxpayers got to fund her to go over there so they can not listen to her in person instead of just ignoring her emails. It just doesn't make. I'm not saying that they shouldn't embrace LGBT stuff. Yeah, they should. But what the hell does AOC? Why is she going over there? It's a point. Just wasting more of our money. The liberals are on a tear, right now. The next story is called Misgendering Molester. And I've made jokes about this so often. Well, let me see. What's Mark saying here? What is your thought on national divorce? Honestly, Mark, I'm Republican, but as soon as I see Marjorie Taylor Greene's name, I'm always just like, All right, here we go. Yeah, the national divorce is lunacy. It's idiocy. She's like Marjorie Taylor Greene is just this walking, talking publicity stunt for herself. It's all she does. I don't know what work she's actually doing other than increasing her own profile very effectively. But yeah, I mean, it's just one. It's the balloons and the weird fur and the booing. I mean, it's all one big publicity stunt after another. I don't know necessarily to help the Republican Party or Republicans necessarily, but just to really help her own visibility. I think she's very self-serving, and I wouldn't trust her. God, yeah. Marianne Williamson is running for president. Is she? You know, I know she's viewed as a bit of a kook, but I think in her heart, in her soul, she's really a nice person. I would take her over Biden in a heartbeat, but I did not know she was running for president again. That's interesting. I don't think she's going to win again. But yeah, and again, I'm seeing DeSantis. I'm excited about that, Mark. I'm going to go see. I was going to say president, obviously not. Governor of Florida, DeSantis, at the Reagan Library. It's sold out, but I'm going to go see him on Sunday the 5th. So that's next week. I'm kind of excited to see him. I actually saw him. I'm going to see him at the Reagan Library, and I saw Nikki Haley there maybe 2 months ago. She was great too. Both of those. I mean, I'd be happy with either of them. Still feel like Trump is just so divisive that it's going to be I think it's going to be a tougher fight with him as the front runner, as the candidate than it would be with either of those two. But I love that the left is already assaulting, verbally certainly, Nikki Haley. I mean, here's a woman. We need a woman president. We need, and then here comes a woman, minority woman, not some white cracker like Hillary Clinton. This is a minority. It's a woman. It's a minority woman, but she's Republican. So no, she's the devil. They start assaulting. They making fun of her. They're calling her old. They're being racist. It's just the hypocrisy on the left is off the charts. It's off the charts. There's a story on Fox right here about misgendering molestation. This is again where I live. I used to be Chesapeake Puddin was the worst DA I felt in the country, and now it's because he's gone. It's Gascon or Gascon, whatever the hell his name is. He's just this lunatic, progressive leftist. Just lets everybody out of jail. He doesn't prosecute people who should go to jail. He's the reason that crime is soaring in the city and that people are getting the hell out. Luckily I don't live in Los Angeles proper. We still have some law and order where I'm at. We are in California still. But I made jokes about this. I said, I forget what story it was, but I'm like, oh yeah, pretty soon the bigger crime won't be a crime that a criminal is being charged with or has committed. It will be a prosecutor misgendering said criminal. Here we are. I'm throwing that out there, months ago or whatever it was, and just like, oh yeah, that'll be that's a funny joke. Now here we are. Now it's real. Prosecutor benched for dead naming, I guess is what they call it now if you misgender someone. Trans child abuser. So the child abuse, we're upsetting the child abuser. A child abuser who, by the way, it's being said is only posing as a trans to try and work the system, which voila, it's working. So this prosecutor was probably, very dialed in on the case, very, really ready to get this guy getting in a groove and working to put this child molester, allegedly, but I almost guarantee he is, in jail. 10-year-old, by the way, 10-year-old child, just so you know, put him in jail, taken off the case because he misgendered him. Oh no! Because he's child molester, and he not that it matters, but he's working it like the whole thing's a game, anyways. He's just playing this gender transition game just for something like this to happen. For the prosecutors probably kicking his butt every day in court to get pulled off the case by a nut job leftist DA like Gascon, and it worked because. That's the madness, the insanity, just the absolute utter insanity of the left. It's. I'd say it's shocking, but it isn't anymore. It's expected. Mark says, "Did you hear about the woman running one of these organizations who claim to be, yes, Indian Hispanic, and the mom says she's white as snow. Yeah, I was thinking of doing a story on her, but I mean, it's like it's basically the Hispanic version or Indian Hispanic version of what Rachel Dazelle, who was this other white as snow woman who pretended to be African American to, I don't know, because she wanted to be. Because she felt like it. I mean, I don't see what's the problem. You can identify as anything. Why the hell not just identify as African American? I mean, if we're taking biology out of the equation, if you can have a biological male in women's sports just because they identify as a woman, well, why not let someone who's pigmentally challenged, identify as someone who isn't? The world we live in, it just every day gets a little crazier. Every day it gets a little nuttier. And it's good news, bad news, because I always have stuff to write about. Always have stuff to write about. And by the way, if you haven't already, please subscribe to jeffahern.com. $3 a month, you get all my new stuff, plus shows and other things, appearances, things like that. So please do check that out. I'm loving the South Park lately, especially with that episode. The best piece I ever did was on Meghan Markle for YouTube, and I say the best, most hits. I think I got, which YouTube just censors the hell out of me. That's why if you're gonna follow me on Rumble. Thank you. Yeah. So, but the best thing I ever did on that was Meghan Markle in terms of hits. I got like 25,000 something like that hits on it, and I don't have a lot of followers on it for the reasons I just described. Yeah, and the reason that they got a lot of hits because nobody likes Meghan Markle. Nobody likes Meghan Markle. Not the right, not the left. There's nothing that it seems like we can all agree on as a country that can bring us together, except apparently our hatred of Meghan Markle. Because I'm like, oh my God, if they're actually letting this go, then that means, letting people see my video on her, which I'm kind of rough on her, very. Then they must agree with it because they don't. There's no free speech at YouTube. There's no free speech at Google. There's no free speech at virtually every single social media place. It just isn't. If you think it is, you're a fool. So they have to agree with it ideologically, on an ideological level, before they'll let it out of the bag, so to speak, let people see it, give it to a broader audience. It's called censorship, and that's what they do. So the fact that they let this one out means they're like, okay, yeah, we don't like her either. Throw the kid a bone. So the left doesn't like her, the right doesn't like her, and then South Park comes in and just rips her to shreds. Just so well done. I don't watch South Park all the time. I don't watch it a lot at all. I just don't. But it's very funny. It's always been very funny, and they always every now and then have like an episode like that where they just knock it out of the park and like, oh my gosh, you'll watch it. You'll watch it again. And like, oh yeah, that was really good. I mean, they just eviscerate her, but in a way that's so truthful and honest that you're just like, oh my God. Leave us alone, massive publicity tour. And then when William at the end is just, I don't want to spoil it for you, but looking down her head just to see if there's anything there. And spoiler alert, there isn't. It's accurate. It's dead on accurate. And I just don't have any sympathy for her. I don't think anyone else does. Maybe she'll do something on that podcast of hers nobody listens to. I should say nobody listens to it. Once in a while, like usually when she's in the news, I'll listen to it like a little excerpt, usually the beginning where she's got this like just sappy, syrupy, almost condescending voice talking about whatever she's going to be talking about. And you're just like, oh my God, could you imagine having to hear that all the time? Or, having that for your wife. I can see why the royal families are just like, it just makes you cringe. All right, that's Meghan Markle. Yeah, Paris Hilton, I just read that too. Speaking of these celebrities, if you will. Yeah, Ahern league ticket. I like that, Mark. Dude, I'm on board. 2024 Ahern league. Mark Lee, Jeff Ahern. We're gonna get the job done. We really could. We easily do a better job than what's going on right now. I really think, and there'd be more funk. We'd have more funk concerts for sure. Paris Hilton is saying she was abused as a teen. Why is she just telling the story now? Yeah, I don't know. It is strange. Like, I feel like she already did kind of a big publicity push for something or other. I don't know if she was pushing a book or this or that. Maybe she's like, oh, I left that out. It is weird that it's coming out so late. It's perfectly plausible. my whole thing with that, when these revelations are revealed, when usually normally female celebrities, actresses, Paris Hilton types, like, hey, by the way, I was assaulted here or this happened there. They never identify the perpetrator. Why never identify? It's like, if you're going to say something like that, you got to out the person who did it. Why give them a pass? Well, you don't want to dredge it up. Well, that's exactly what you're doing by admitting to it to a national audience. You're dredging it up. So you're like, I don't want to go through all that again. Well, then what the hell are you telling the world about it for? I'm just saying, I always find that odd. Like, if you're going to say you were assaulted by someone or something bad happened to you at some point, I don't understand why you wouldn't say the person who did it. It just, to me, it never, there's an untrue ring to it. It's weird. It's like you're just looking for more publicity. You're not, I don't understand. I don't get it. So I don't know if Paris will identify the person who supposedly did it. My guess is no, because that seems to be the MO for this kind of stuff, which again, I don't understand. I'm being really brave. I'm coming out. I'm saying this happened, but I'm not going to mention the person who did it. Why are you protecting the person that did it? I don't get it. All right, let's keep going. Oh, Joy Reid. No, that's not Joy Reid. It's Joy Behar. Yeah. All right. I must say, like, there must be one Joy who I like. Joy Reid's just detestable. She just made an entire career on calling everything racist. Everything. I mean, literally every show. It's today. This is what's racist. It usually isn't. And then actually, Joy Behar kind of the same. You think about it, isn't it? She although at least Joy Reid can sit in a chair without falling down. Joy Behar, they need spotters. They need spotters around that chair when she comes in hot around the corner. So she's gonna go sliding off it like she did last time. All right, toxic derailment victim slams Joy Behar over controversial claim. Okay, so I'm assuming the controversial claim will be somehow, it's like racist or Trump. One of those two. I think it's Trump. I think she was somehow blaming Trump for it. Again, Trump hadn't been around for a while. Just in case I know you keep bringing him back, Democrats. I know you keep trying to get him, because he probably wants to run again, which he does. So you want to avoid that by trying to lambast him with whatever you can. I'm just going to expand on this just to see what exactly she's claiming. She said, yeah. Liberal View host claims East Palestine residents voted for Trump policies that caused the derailment. It's just such nonsense. It really is. And ironically, Trump made it to Palestine, East Palestine. Don't want to confuse you. Before our illustrious Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, did. A little late to the party there, Pete. Did you buy anyone McDonald's? I don't think so. Yeah, he's been a disaster, Buttigieg. He just seems, it's like a well-paying job for him and his husband or whatever to go travel and have a nice time and go to dinners and things. He doesn't seem to be actually doing anything. I'm very unimpressed with him. I didn't know anything about him when he was the mayor of a mayor in Indiana. And now that I know something about him, I don't care for him. I'm not a fan. All right, let's keep going here. But yeah, Joy Behar, Joy Reid, cut from the same Trump hating cloth. Haunting memory. Yeah, it goes to Murdaugh, and it's talking about that Murdaugh, his son, again, the one who he allegedly didn't kill, takes the stand exactly 4 years after fatal boating accident involving his son. So the adult senior took the stand today, as I mentioned earlier. 4 years to the day that his son, they covered up that fatal boat, or got it. The charges reduced to, like, I don't know, moving violation. He didn't get charged for manslaughter, which he probably very easily could have. He was drunk. He's driving a boat. His friend died. You would almost expect that he would be charged with manslaughter, but the fix was in. And it'll be interesting to see if the fix is in for his dad, for Daddy, with all his connections. I hope not. We got Kamala here, not a peep for Veep. Is that a bad thing, Fox? I'm not complaining. Critics rip on Kamala Harris after audience neglects applause. Why would you applaud Kamala? I mean, again, I didn't say it here, but I've said it before. She's like this alien. She's like a very unintelligent version of Data from Star Trek. Where that episode where he's trying to like be human or have human emotions and laugh at jokes and make jokes. It's like she's not. She's like this alien who came down and just trying to learn how us humans act and is failing miserably. She's the most unnatural person. It just seems like her mannerisms, the way she talks, the way she acts, her laugh. It's all like some robot trying to like act human rather than a human just existing. And she's grossly incompetent. You throw that on top of it. Okay, misgendering molester. We talked about that. Yeah, check out the Post. I do love the Post. All right, NY Post, my favorite paper. Although I am digging the Daily Mail. I think UK. They got some good stuff on that. Callous confession. So he's admitted he's lied again. Murdaugh admits he was near the scene when his wife and son were shot dead. Originally, he was not. Right? He said, I wasn't anywhere near there, and it wasn't me. But now, as the case moves forward, and his alibi after alibi gets thinner and thinner and tears through like tissue paper, he's finding himself getting closer and closer to the scene of the crime. Now he admits he was near the scene of the crime when his wife and son were shot dead. I mean, the guy he did it, or he paid someone to do it, but he's such a scumbag. He probably did it himself. I mean, honestly, I would not put it past him. I mean, God, what a horrible human being this guy is. Lying double. I love the Post. Just call it out. Lying double murder suspect Alex Murdaugh admitted Friday that he would sometimes pop more than 60 pills a day and lie and steal millions from people he loved. I mean, the guy, just put him in jail for some. I mean, he killed his own allegedly killed his own family brutally, by the way. Maybe he'd probably get off if he was in California and DA Gascon was on him. He'd get off if he identified as a woman and then the prosecutor accidentally misidentified his gender. Yeah, welcome to L.A. Gascon. Oh my! And Gascon wasn't elected. He didn't. It wasn't a hostile coup. He got voted in. I'm getting out of L.A. It's just awful. Here we go. Buddy Gig. Take a shot at him, Post. Go ahead. Buddy Gig mocked for flaunting trendy boots at Ohio train wreck. And then because of quotes, not shocked at all. Yeah, it's like you're a fashionista, like you got like AOC traveling to Japan giving unsolicited advice. Buddy Gig just go in some some Carhartt stuff. I don't know, just some boots. You got to be in your fancy wear. You're just going to get toxic chemicals all over it, and you don't want to track that into your house. You can't even drink the water around there. You just ruined your real expensive boots. I mean, just from a practical standpoint, you should wear if I was going to see this horrible sight that I feel like he's somewhat responsible for, being the transportation secretary for a couple of years now. I think I would have worn my worst pair of footwear imaginable. You're walking in toxic stew. You're going to wear your fancy, I don't even know what the hell they are, your fancy work boots, the kind of work boots you don't do work in. Anyway, so he's being mocked, rightfully so, for that. Thank you, Post, for mocking. It is appreciated. Okay, secrets to my success. All right, what is? Oh yeah, I just did a story on this one too. This one is actually, I did this last night. So if you check on jeffahern.com, it's right there. It's available to you right now. But I'll give you the gist of it. So, secret to my success: from barely reading to working with Google, triumphs of New York City charter school alumni. So charter schools right now are killing it in New York City. They are killing it in New York, just in general. Governor Hochul, who I don't even like, I like her on this. She's like, hey, these charter schools are doing great work. We need more of them. And so she's trying to get more charter schools to be able to open, because they're charters. You have to get a charter in order to run them, hence the name charter school. And the beauty of the charter school is you can run them, and if you run them poorly, they go away. That's a beautiful thing. If you run them well, they stay. You get a charter for like 5 years. If you don't meet the performance minimums in order to keep your charter, you lose your charter. So you don't have a situation where there's a bad charter school around for very long. If that charter school is around, first of all, it's motivated to get students to achieve and perform at a very high level in order to stay in business. Now, here's the other thing. So these charter schools overall, and there's just success story after success story. It's unbelievable because these kids are now being nurtured. These kids are now being challenged. They're not having things lowered. Their expectations are being raised, and they're responding to that. The same way they respond to expectations being lowered by thinking less of themselves and realizing, oh, the adults in the room think we're idiots. We must be idiots. This Democrat 101. It's just it's so annoying to me that they do this to kids. They ruin their lives. They literally ruin their lives with woke horse crap liberalism, and it's disgusting. So the charter schools take the opposite route because, generally speaking, the opposite route of whatever liberal progressives want or are doing is the right route. And this is a great example of that. So they challenge these kids. They know they can learn. They know the problem isn't the child. The problem is those people teaching them, those people not all teachers, but some, but those people in charge also of what's being taught, how it's being taught. I have a feeling there's not a lot of CRT being done in charter schools. And so you're seeing these great successes. You have overall an 8% higher reading and math scores in these schools. And here's the mind-boggling thing to me: the cost of these schools. Now you're always, not always, but Democrats, what do they blame everything on? Well, first they blame it on cops, white people, etc. But after they're done with that, and they need a new scapegoat, it's money. Well, we don't have enough money. There's not enough money here. How are we supposed to help these kids? We're trying so hard. No, you're not. We're trying so hard to help these kids. And how much money do you think? Just take a guess in your head. How much money do you think the average per student gets allocated to them from the New York City school budget? Well, on a public school, it's I believe it's $35,700. Pretty close. I think I actually remember that. That's per kid that's allocated every year. Now, for a charter school, which is having better results, and parents are excited to send their kids there because they're actually learning stuff, and there's an excitement to learn, and there's a passion to teach. And these charter schools, for less than half that amount per student, are getting much greater results. So instead of paying roughly $36,000 a head per student, taxpayer money, to have a child run through CRT, indoctrinated, and thrown out into poverty, you now have you're spending about, I believe, $15,000 to $16,000 per student, and you're seeing massive exponential growth, excitement. You're seeing parents talking about this. So who wouldn't like this? Who wouldn't like this? Well, let me add a couple more things. The majority of the students in this program, in these charter schools, are minority students. Roughly 90% are either African American or Hispanic. So if you're against charter schools, you're got to be pretty racist, right? So now here we go. What party doesn't want charter schools? Democrats. It never ends with the left. Oh, we want to do this for you. We want to make your communities better. Defund the police and vote for us. And then now the communities are just hellholes and shooting galleries. And we want to save you. We want to get you out of poverty. We want to get you out of poverty. You don't want to go to a charter school. They're terrible. Oh, thank you, Teachers Union, for all my donations. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. This is what's going on. They're selling out your kids' futures. Why wouldn't they? They sold yours out a long time ago. They're selling out your kids' futures for donations from whoever. In this case, the Teachers Union, very powerful union, a lot of money, and these bought and paid for politicians are doing the dirty work of trying to smear charter schools. The issue is, like all things, like all the misinformation campaigns that the left told you there were, whether it was the Wuhan lab, whether it was Hunter's laptop, whether eventually the truth gets out, whether it was Trump's Russian collusion, the truth gets out. And the truth has gotten out about charter schools because enough parents are saying, how's your kid doing so well? How is this happening? Oh, yeah, charter school. So now, even though the left has been pounding these people, and the leftist politicians have been pounding these people about how horrible these charter schools are, they're not. They're a much better place. They're often located in the same school building as a public school, and yet they'll have dramatically different results. Even the paint on the walls is bright and inviting. They're trying to educate these kids. They're not just trying to collect a paycheck or keep the bureaucracy running. They don't care about the kids, these public schools. They don't. Certainly not the people on top. The teachers that probably do, but how much can they handle? Frustration wise, with kids running wild. There's most not surprisingly, there's more discipline at charter schools. It matters. Merit matters, and that's why these kids are doing great. So you've got all these parents like, oh wow, this is great. This is great. So they're all talking to each other. So now the approval rate, when they did the most recent poll on charter schools, the perception of them by New Yorkers is at 64% in favor. And that doesn't mean the rest are against. Only about 22% are still against. I'm guessing those are relatives of the bureaucrats destroying the current school system. There's a lot of them. And so it's a great time to do this. And again, just the hypocrisy. The left is the most hypocritical, most racist party in our country's history. Always have been, always will be. Well, I shouldn't say always will be, but probably. One of the senators against this, and there's a bunch of them, they're all in the pocket of the teachers union, is last name's Jackson. I forget his first name. We'll call him Senator Jackson. Senator Jackson is deeply against this move towards charter schools. He would like every kid to just suffer and be miserable in public schools, have a horrible education, and then graduate into poverty, because then it almost guarantees that they'll vote Democrat next election. So he himself, now he doesn't send his daughter to a public school. Why would he? They're horrible. He knows that. He knows all too well. He sends his daughter to a $60,000 a year private school. Now, these public schools are so great. Why are you spending $60,000 to keep your kid out of them? The hypocrisy of the left is off the charts. And here's a great opportunity to expand the charter school system. Yeah, sorry, teachers union, you're doing a crappy job. You have not all your teachers, obviously. There's no all or nothing, but a lot of your teachers are just horrible. They're awful. They're tenured. You can't get rid of them. They're garbage. So why don't you let people who are motivated to teach, people who are incentivized to teach, people who actually want to teach, Performance matters, merit matters, and if you think it doesn't, you're essentially committing child abuse on the poor kids who have to suffer through these. And again, the majority of 90% of the kids in these charter schools are minority kids, and who are doing better because they're in these charter schools. And who wants to shut it down? Who wants to turn off the spigot? The Democrat Party. Now, I know Governor Hochul's a Democrat, but the majority of her party is still against these because they're all in the pocket of the teachers union. It's disgusting. It's despicable. It's horrible what people will do to their kids. And yeah, it's not just the politicians, it's the parents who vote these idiots in. I don't know. It's just nonsense. All right, I'm Mark. I've been on a bit of a rant. Did I ever watch Lean on Me? I think so, a long time ago. I think it was a good movie if I remember right. Actually, there are charter schools that are about Black history and Black experience, and some would argue that is like CRT. I don't know, Mark. I would like to compare test scores of them and the people who engage in no CRT. All I can say about that is they got 5 years. Whatever, it's their charter school. I'm concerned about results. If you want to turn people against each other and get them to hate each other, at least they're probably better at reading and math and just filled with hate. But at least their math and reading is better, right? I'm not a fan of CRT. I'm sorry. Let's teach kids to hate each other. African-American students account for 17% of charter school enrollment nationally. Well, New York, the ones they're talking about, it was 90, and Hispanic. Recent polling shows increases of acceptance at charter schools and school choice by African-Americans. Yeah, I mean, people want it, man. Get your kids out of these horrible schools. Look at you, Mark. You got like a whole little research thing here. The American Federation of Children National School Choice Survey showed 76% of African Americans support school choice. Yeah, because they love their kids. They want them to do better. And they know what's happening in public schools is horrible. It's like, who would want to send their kid to a public school these days? I shouldn't say all public schools, obviously, but there's certain ones where you're just like, oh my God, I have to send my kid there. That's where they have to go. If you give me an alternative, I'm going to pick the alternative. Don't take my alternative from me because the teachers union is telling you not to. Why you got to bring in BLM, Mark? By the way, BLM. Oh, Black Minds Matter. Okay, I misread that. Like, as soon as I see BLM, I'm just like, oh, I start rolling. Black Minds Matter was founded in. Kind of like it now that I know it's not Black Lives Matter. Let's see if I still like it at the end of it. Black Minds Matter was founded in 2020 to bring attention to inequities in education systems that eerily resemble institutional injustices of the criminal justice system. For Black lives to matter, Black minds must matter. Okay. Black Minds Matter is a national movement to celebrate Black minds, support excellence, and promote the development of high-quality school options. Yeah, school options, charter schools. I'm on board with that. I have no problem with anything that I just read there, as far as I'm concerned. Leading proponent of this is all Mark's stuff. Mark got a lot of info on this. Leading proponent of charter schools is Howard Fuller. Look him up. Civil rights activist. Yeah, I'm in favor of charter schools. And anyone who's not to have some fun, pretend I'm Joy Reid or Joy Behar is racist, or at a minimum misinformed. You have much better results, half the cost per student, and the whole reason it works is there's accountability. There's no accountability in public schools. Whether you educate them, whether you don't, you still get the same paycheck. And if you stand out too good, if you're doing too good a job at educating the kids, well, now everyone else is like, hey, who's this guy making me look bad? And they all talk, and then they chuck you out. They find a reason to get rid of you. You're making the rest of them look bad. The rest of these hack teachers, at least you might have a job at a charter school now. So that's my 2 cents on charter schools. I did a whole story on it that you can see on jeffahern.com if you want to check that out too. But yeah, it's about time, and it's disgusting to me that people would fight against them when they've been proven to be so successful. When parents are so, as Mark pointed out, there's a lot of that stuff there. So in support of it because they're in support of their kids. But at the same time, parents, you gotta take a little I don't know how to put this, but some of this is your fault. You keep electing the party that controls these schools and is running them into the ground. You don't have to elect that party every election. You could vote for someone else. I'm just saying, maybe vote a different way. Maybe once. Try it, see what happens. All right. I think I'm almost done. I might go to CNN next. All right. So we're going to have a January game over. Oh, dear God. I'm sorry. It's not even funny. Game over. 6'6" student. First of all, how many times did that kid stay back? Likely answer, probably none. Because in liberal schools, they'll just pass you. It really doesn't matter if you're any good or smart. They'll just move you on. And I'm not. That's another. I don't want to get on a whole nother side tangent, but I've been doing a lot of school stuff this week. The day before I did the one on the charter schools, I did one on Illinois schools having, depending on where you read it, some places said 53, some places said 60 different schools where no child, 0 kids were at proficiency in either math or reading. None of them in the whole school were at proficiency. And yet the Illinois Board of Ed labeled some of these schools in their rating system as commendable. 0 of the kids had proficiency in math or reading, and they were labeled commendable by the Board of Education. It's insidious. I mean, it's the same thing, different state. Horrible results for kids who are just thrown under the bus by a bureaucracy that cares nothing except about power and money. It's despicable. It's disgusting. It's got to stop. And it doesn't stop until you stop voting for the party who causes it all. It's not the Republicans. Republicans have nothing to do with Illinois. They haven't for decades. Maybe occasionally you get a Republican governor here and there. But for the majority, certainly in Chicago, where most of these schools are located, it's been Democrat controlled for 40, 50 years? I mean, it's been a long time. New York, same thing. All right. 6'6" student beat teacher unconscious for taking Nintendo Switch. Will anything, and I have to ask this question because it's a legitimate question. Is anything going to happen to this kid? Will he even get suspended? Are they allowed to suspend him? Will they just send him to some other school, make him somebody else's problem? This kid should go to jail. I don't know. Oh my God, he's enormous. This guy's a monster. Like physically, 6'6" student, 270 pounds. That teacher didn't stand a chance. Beating the female staffer unconscious inside school after she confiscated Nintendo Switch. I mean, that's just, oh my God. That's a big broken dude right there. That is a big broken dude. I might not have taken that Switch from him. I might have let him keep it. I mean, a gutsy teacher, you're going after that 270-pound dude, gonna grab his Switch from him. I'd be like, hey, you need to leave. And then when he said no, I'd be like, okay, well, I'm leaving. Maybe there's a charter school that'll hire me. All right, let's see. Let's check out CNN. She's 270, 6'6". Yeah, that's a big fella right there. All right, CNN. I always close out with CNN just to see what the loony left is at, up and about. Although CNN actually they're trying, I think, a little bit. They've got a new head because they're doing so poorly. They lost all their credibility when they did that 4 years of anti-Trump coverage of the whole made-up Russian collusion thing. And now they've fired a bunch of people and they're trying to rebuild, potentially, although nowhere near it by any stretch of the imagination, as having at least some objective news. They're bringing in Charles Barkley, which I like because he just says what's on his mind. They need something. Don Lemon is still being inflicted on people in spite of all the horrible sexism and ageism and all the other. I mean, they keep shoveling them down. I mean, this was their golden boy for a while. Him and Cuomo, crooked Cuomo. All their Stelter, all their stars gone, because all they had was just the bash Trump pinata and a bunch of bogus news, a bunch of fake stories, a bunch of agenda-driven narrative, drivel. And now they're almost all gone. Lemon should have been already gone. They should have just already got rid of him. But he's African American, so you can't just fire him. He'll call you racist, and then he's incompetent. Doesn't matter. He's African American. We have to keep him. That's how Joy Reid has kept her job for all these years. Joy Reid is going to. They've been trying to get rid of her at MSNBC, trying to. But she doesn't leave until she wants to leave. I mean, that's just how it goes. You've painted yourself into a woke circle, and you can't get rid of anybody now that's not white. White people are easy. You can chuck them anytime you want. Stelter, Cuomo, get out of here. No heat for that. All right, Chinese fighter jet confronts U.S. naval plane. Oh, that's always great news. As tensions simmer in South China Sea. All right. U.S. cracks down on those aiding Russia war efforts. This is like this Ukraine war was, this whole invasion was supposed to be a 5-6 day affair. I mean, my God, just keeps going and going and going. The most consequential ruling since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade could come today. Now they say that, and yet at the same time, it's way down the list. You would think that would be their banner headline. I'm just going to check what the hell this is. Oh, okay. It's an abortion story, but it's still way down their list. What the lawsuit aiming to ban medication abortion drug Memphis. All right. Well, there you go. There's CNN for you. Hey, no January 6th coverage. Good. Bravo, CNN. Bravo. It's almost like it was just something you did around election time or leading up to an election to try and influence it. That's just my perception of what's going on there. All right, Mark. I think I'm going to be heading out soon, but let's see what you got here. He also. I don't know about Marquette. He is also how I go. Oh, okay. Dr. Fuller you're talking about. Oh, cool. I think I've heard of the Fuller Scholarship. That's what that is. Yeah, I've heard of the Fulbright Scholarship or Fuller Scholarship. I can't remember. One of those two. A lot of charter schools are supported by Democrats here in Durham. Good. Durham's a good place, man, even though it is Democrat. Would have thought I'd ever say that. It's been a year today. Ukraine's been a year. Wow, that's crazy. And there's a Nigerian election on Saturday. I don't know what the last. I don't know what I'm going to do with the story on the Nigerian election. But I don't know nothing about Nigeria. I hope it goes well for the most honest, non-corrupt politician in Nigeria. I hope they're the ones who win. How about that? But yeah. All right. So thank you. I want to try out my new camera today. Kind of a little backdrop here. I'm doing my thing. Thank you always to Mark, my amazing host. We are running in 2024 for vote. So vote Ahern Lee. Yeah, how about that? All right. Hey, thanks, Mark. Have a great weekend, man. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Check me out on jeffahern.com. And I'm going to try and stay dry. It's raining today. Bye, everybody.
Hello and welcome to Newsday with Jeff Ahern. I'm your host, Jeff Ahern. Today's top story. The University of Southern California's School of Social Work said that the word field will be removed from its curriculum because of its racist connotations. It will be replaced by the word practicum. For example, in the practicum of made-up racism, USC has no equal. Is the word the also racist because of its close association to field, as in the field? Or how about as in a field? And if USC is really trying to get rid of words with a connotation to slavery, what about the biggest one of them all? Democrat. Seriously, why change the name of the place where slaves used to work, but not the name of the party who fought a civil war to keep them working there? Is it that the party of slavery is just too much of a mouthful? Worse still, a lot of the School of Social Work faculty are active members of said party. I'm starting to wonder if this whole thing is ego-driven to see who can be the wokest liberal. I don't like to use the word Democrat because of its inherent racist connotations. When I read about this supposed Institute of Higher Learning claiming that the word field was racist, I thought, wow, this is actually great news. Because if this is what is passing for racism now, there must be almost no actual racism. Just this make it up as you go variety. Still, farmers better hope that this doesn't catch on or they won't have a place to grow their crops. Some companies are worried too. Field and Stream magazine just changed their name to Stream, hoping USC doesn't say the word stream is racist too. Otherwise, they'll just be reduced to a picture of a fish. And poor USC alumni watching their diplomas get one step closer to toilet paper, regardless of their practicum of study.